there became a melodramatic element in our songs as opposed to an up celebration type record. And I think Massachusetts was like that. We began to love melodrama, and we began to love what the Beatles were doing with orchestras. We began to recognize that full orchestra was just as important to rock and roll as electric guitar was.
And the lights all went out in Massachusetts. They brought me back to see my way with you.
It was the first time we'd ever had a #1 record.
I remember being told Massachusetts was #1. We did such a bad show that night. we were on one of those places up north where they had the turning stage. It goes round, the revolving stage. And we were on the other side getting ready, all plugging in and getting set up. Dick runs up and he goes, Massachusetts has just gone to #1. What? And we all looked at each other and went, oh my God, it's gone to #1. And just as that happened, the stage started going round and we weren't all plugged in or set up. And we just started the show and we sang what the hell we wanted to. We couldn't believe it. We were so over the moon, we thought we could get away with murder. To have a #1 in England, you have no idea how much we dreamed of this in Australia. To have a #1 in the UK charts, oh, we felt like we'd arrived.
The Bee Gees, the most exciting sound in the world.
Living tomorrow, where in the world will I be tomorrow? How far am I able to see? I just gotta get a message to you.
We were very, very ambitious, and we were very anxious to make our mark. And if there was a choice between partying and being in the studio, it was definitely going to be in the studio. And it wasn't about having a good time. A good time to us was actually being in the studio.
A good time to us was a good woman.
Yes.
And in those days, the idea of women crept into our lives. And up to that point,
Yes.
And up to that point, women had not. It began in Australia just before we left, that women became the sort of vroom, music, women. So women became a confliction between the two subjects. It was going out with a girl, or it was writing a song, or it was being a group, or it was going out with a girl. And so we began to fall in love. We began to have girlfriends.
And I think you need that to be an artist, right? You need that extra sentiment. And
Yeah. So suddenly we were no longer kids.
I've been thinking, sitting on the phone. I'm getting sick of doing what I'm told. Just me and the mirror in my brain. But that was when I got an idea. Came like a gun and shot in my ear. Don't you think it's time you got up and started alone?
There was a lot of hits in that short time. All the things were happening. I mean, there was a lot of money all of a sudden, and cars, and girlfriends, and love interests were happening, and jealousies were happening, so the drink came more, the money became more. And when you're 18, 19 years of age, and after all the work we had done through clubs and everything, I felt grown up. I felt like I'd been through the mill.
But that was when I got an idea. Came like a gun and shot in my ear. Don't you think it's time you got up and started alone?
In 1967, we became members of a club called the Speakeasy, which was an underground club, which was only for the Beatles and the Stones and the Who and Otis Redding and Sam and Dave and the Ahmed Ertegun and Robert and Brian Epstein. It was virtually a closed club, and you went downstairs and there was a coffin, and if you were allowed in, if you were somebody they knew and you were supposed to go in, the wall would turn round and the coffin would turn round. And in you would go, and there'd be George Best playing the machines, and there'd be the Stones would be lying around all over the place, it was one of those days that I met John Lennon from the back. I never met John Lennon from the front. And it was Pete Townsend who introduced me to John Lennon. And what I remember is, Barry, I'd like you to meet John Lennon. John Lennon, pleased to meet you. And carried on talking to somebody else. So I thought to myself, well, I've met John Lennon.
I had John Lennon's black-windowed Mini Cooper S. I bought that car off him. And so I was involved. I became part of the inner circle of all those guys. And I was going to parties and Magical Mystery Tour. And it was like a wild world for me. When you think that 5 months before all this was going on, I was in Pitt Street buying up a Beatle fan club book at the same time. And now here I am partying with these guys. My heroes.
Let's have a wonderfully warm reception for the attractive Bee Gees and soloist Barry Gibb.
Smile, an everlasting smile. A smile can bring you near to me. Don't ever let me find you gone, 'cause that would bring a tear to me.
We did Ed
Yes.
Sullivan,
Dick Cavett and Mike Douglas, Merv Griffin,
Johnny Carson.
Johnny Carson. We did 11 Johnny Carson shows over
Yeah.
the years.
There wasn't any
yes.
decisive point where we moved to America or whatever, but because it was an international scene from 1967 onwards, wherever you were based, you'd have to go to America.
Well,
somewhere.
it was England or America.
Yeah.
It had to be one or the two. No other country in the world could give you international fame.
It's only words, and words are all I have to take your heart away.
It's hard to speak about Odessa in any coherent way because it wasn't actually a planned album. It was just a collection of songs that we thought we were going to do a concept album.
Yeah, because of Tommy and because of Robert's connection to these types of things, he wanted us to do a rock opera, and we wanted to put it on stage. And instead of writing a rock opera, we just came up with a mishmash. We just came up with a bunch of songs that we thought we were going somewhere with it. But I think we were extremely weary. I think even at such a young age, we'd been through quite a number of albums very quickly. We could no longer deal with each other. And that the three of us drifted apart. In fact, I'd say the four of us drifted apart, including Robert. Robert went off to make his movies and
The distractions.
all the distractions that success brings for someone like him, you know. And so we let that lie. That album never really got finished. It never really got finished.